You're beautiful. Who am I talking about? The girl watching this video. What am I doing? Hello, it's Trekker Joe, and I am back in Space Engineers, not to play survival and do the roleplay thing. That is still something I'm trying to work out, and I really should just get together a band of goons to do half of the work for me, because that honestly might be the best way to go. Besides, while I guess I may as well say this, and I hope I don't sound too pompous when I do, but I would say while my building is at least decent, I would be so much better off if I had 5 or 6 other people helping set up between episodes, at the least. So, anyway, as you can see, I have a new ship, and it is called the Spaero. The spelling is actually very unique, but if I were to take a closer look at this, as you can see, it's a highly advanced ship. Lots of glass, that's how you can tell it's advanced. But also, it has a full working interior. And I'll just give you a tour and give you the specifications. In fact, the specifications are going to be on the screen right now. Like the armament and the thrusters in each direction, as well as what kind of systems are included. And maybe I'll even include tidbits on every little script, because I'm not really going to go through all of them. I'm going to turn my light off because the interior is fully lit. So I'm on the starboard airlock. This airlock is not set up to automatically depressurize or anything, because this thing is meant to be completely it's only going to work in the air. Now the darker door is towards the fore section of the ship. I actually want to go back here because we're not ready for the cockpit yet. You'll see why in a moment. But anyway, as you can see, I have lots and lots of scripts running here. This is offline. Actually, I'm going to just toggle this right now. If I run this, now that's going to light up. Basically, I have an aligner script here. I have my GPU, which is automatic LCDs too. I have airlock control right here. You can see that highlighted. I have life support, and this is actually a custom script, and I'm going to be putting this up on the workshop. It's basically Oxygen+Hydrogen Management by Trekker Joe, based on oxygen production control by Cryptor. Basically what I did was I found Cryptor's code on the workshop, and I thought, okay, this might be a good place to start and just get an idea of how the UI works. And I completely redid almost everything. I would say, I think the thing that I have changed the least, and I've still changed over half of this code, has to be the display, which, the renderer, which, yeah, update LCD. In fact, I have, these different settings. But yeah, the cool thing about this is I used a pair of state machines for switching and execution logic, so it's actually fairly effective in how it works, but I still have to shake off the rust when it comes to C#. But I did come up with some pretty good displays. So it's currently 1.4.3. And what it does is allow me to manage the hydrogen and oxygen levels separately using the same system. And basically this is for any ship that you need to have oxygen tanks on, but also have to have hydrogen generation on. And using this will allow you to set it. Right now I had like altered it to only operate on oxygen, but all I really did for that was alter the stats and trick it into thinking that. I will actually go and type up a little bit of a guide on how to get it to act like this in the case you don't have hydrogen on it. I also have Tim, which is this one right here. It is also the only programmable block that uses this timer. Also, I have a timer block here, but I actually... that's just for the headlight rotors, and that's because of a feature I have up there. Now up here, I have my comms center, and it's basically just a room with the gyroscopes in it, really. 3 of the gyroscopes are used for the maneuvering of the ship, and 2 of them are used for the actual alignment. And so it does allow it to tilt a little bit, especially if you move quickly, but it will like catch up and rebound pretty easily. I also have the antenna sticking out the back, and that's really just the only reason why it's a comms room. Now, down here, I have a refinery. It's more exposed on the other side, but these are its modules, so you can easily access those. And then in here, I have an entire docking bay, currently empty, but it has 2 slots for vessels to dock. Presumably they will be a scout and a mining vessel, but I'm not going to include one with the workshop version of this. Like, I was planning on making one, but then I realized it's just kind of redundant. Like, I could easily just use a design I already have and just slightly modify that. I have like TIM readouts here because it's actually very useful being able to see what your ore and component demands are. So yeah, also I do have the feeling that maybe I have exceeded the actual capacity of those containers. I hope not. Anyway, if I walk over here, yep, fully automated. So basically, this thing, and you might have caught a glimpse of something a little later on in the video, but it automatically opens and closes. Actually, I'm taking this exit. So yep, refinery on this side. Anyway, we have Tim. That was the comm center. I mean, I have the readouts for the for my script over here, but then we have this area, and this is engineering. This contains TIM readouts, the same TIM readouts, and access to a cargo container, which is basically set to have the components and ammo magazines in here. It will keep a small backlog of ammo, and you can basically say I need ammo myself, I could just grab that and it'll queue more. But basically, it is providing a small fraction of them. We actually have not that much of a backlog. Okay. This should probably be more filled. Oh, that's actually kind of interesting. Anyway, Tim is automatically manufacturing that. Now, if I go up here, you probably heard this thing, and you saw it through the window. I have my medical bay and 3 cryopods up here, so this thing is multiplayer friendly. And you can see, yeah, this thing's cool. I will show that to you in a bit. And basically, air vent right over here. It is powered by a hybrid of 3 nuclear reactors. This one, maybe I will turn it, maybe I won't. I really don't know. Maybe I shouldn't really care that much. But it also contains several batteries, I think 4. and those handle the overloads. In general, the 3 reactors are going to be enough to power it, and it does take quite a bit to tax the system. So now we're on to the bridge, and this part I actually really like. The bridge is a very well lit section of the ship, and it contains very important readouts. If you're here, this is what you will see. You can see the battery storage, you can see the power time, and those are good. Like off to the right, off to the left, you can see the stop time and the stop distance, along with the cargo mass of the ship, which, as you can see, I think that number is actually going down because it's refining things. Then you have a couple TIM readouts here. Back here, we have the status reports of every airlock and the oxygen tanks. So it's basically showing how it is. The external one shows the pressure isn't quite 100%, but that's because that's like the outside atmosphere. It's actually higher pressure in here. And this is just a readout for damaged blocks. I just put that there because I needed something to be able to immediately look at after a battle to see whether a component of the ship had been damaged or not. Anyway, among other things, if I actually put the UI up, and you can kind of see there are things here. Let me turn these lights on. As you can see, I have a few things out here that I want to show you guys, and hopefully it's light enough for you to see. It has a pair of lights to either side. They're at this angle, but they actually will elevate themselves to block straight forward and back when you're off the ground automatically. And that's what the timer block is for, is to reverse the rotors when it leaves contact with whatever is causing them to depress. So that's basically it for the Spaero. I would take it out for a test ride, but not yet. It's kind of providing illumination for this stuff. So I'm going to just leave. Let me leave through this side. Just like so you can see the airlock's the same on both sides. And so I have these 3 things. I have a Trundler, I have a roamer, and I have an APC drone. Also, that red thing over there. The interesting thing about that is that that's actually like salvage. That's something that spawned in. I was also testing to see if like the scripts would automatically spawn in encounters, and it seems that they finally fixed it to where it does. And anyway, next to the drone is this, which is a factory, and it just produces these APC drones. Now, I wouldn't say these things are good. In fact, I think they're kind of the worst craft I have ever built, if I'm going to be honest. But it was fun to just experiment and see if I could build something like this in a factory. I will show how that works in a moment. But right now, I honestly want to talk about this thing, the roamer, and I'm going to turn my UI back off. So this thing, as you can guess by the legs on it, and my obsession with mech walkers, and attack robots and things like that. Yeah, this thing can walk. Also lag spike, why? I think something spawned in, that's why. As you can see, this thing will traverse the ground and it will stay relatively level, thanks to a particular script I found. And it is right in here. It is Pesticide's gravity aligner. If I edit this, you can kind of see what it is. So yeah. The awesome thing about this script is that it will basically take control of the gyros that you assign, and it will try to keep a vessel level. Without this script, this thing would just be on its butt and trying to drag itself along the ground, kind of like how you might have caught your dog doing. Another cool thing is that it does have like a remote control. I'd rename to AI Core. And I can set its autopilot to, I don't know. What waypoint do I have? Let's send it to Trader Joe 1. If I turn that on, it's going to turn around and start walking. Of course, I think this one's a little bit in the air, so it's actually going to do a little bit of the butt waddle. But it does appear to be actually moving in that direction. I'm actually going to turn that off because it's distracting having it like skewed on its butt like that. So yeah. Anyway, I do plan on like making a variation of this and finding a way to manufacture this in a factory. I think I know how to do it if I use scripts. So I will keep you posted on that, and I'll probably even have like a special series for this because, like, you know what? No, I'm going to announce that later. But either way, this thing is actually quite nice. I like building it, and it's just so adorable. I mean, come on. I mean, who could say no to that face? Anyway, moving on. And away from the noise, I have this thing, which I call a Trundler. Now, this thing is impractical, for one reason and one reason only. There isn't actually a good way to charge it, and if I were to try to mass produce it, I would have to like keep it attached to something into the factory until it fully charged. And you may have noticed that turning off when I came close. Yeah, that's actually a mechanism I installed for obstacle avoidance, and it works okay, but it doesn't account for trees, which still drives me crazy. But this thing probably would benefit a lot more if I went ahead and gave it a coordinate. So I'm just going to say go to Trader Joe 2, turn the autopilot on, and you can see it has rotated. Now I press this, come on, now I press this button. And then I'm going to run ahead, and as you can see, it's turning to avoid me. Now it's going to detect, well, actually it's managing to avoid the legs entirely. But as you can see, it is going to stay in this area. It never will align itself properly with the waypoint, at least not with the way these wheels are set. Unless it does a slide like that. That was actually kind of awesome. But I think that was just because it saw this thing. So yeah, and it's the same armament, it's just a lot faster, and this is the kind of thing that would be easier for me to send to an enemy, because it's just ultimately simpler, and I don't have a way to automatically build mech legs yet. Although, again, that's planned. So now, moving on, one last time. So I have these APC drones. I honestly, this specifically, I'm probably not going to put up on the workshop, only because it actually works horribly bad. It is not good at all. It does use a Space Pirates AI, so that's a thing, which by the way, it's really outdated. And if I go to the AI and just edit this, yeah. This is a Space Pirates AI. Not much to be said. Like, it moves at a crawl. I would say a roamer is probably 10 times the speed of this thing. But enough about that. This thing, while it's not impressive on its own, this as a proof of concept, I think, is really awesome. It has a landing bay that I intend to have like things dropping stuff off to. And it does have like the ability to process ore, which I probably remove from the final versions of these factories. But let's just say this thing can mass produce very quickly, and yeah. Now it uses a timer-based system. It doesn't use scripts yet, and I am going to work on a scripted version of this. It'll probably be the same kind of script I'll use for sequencing the walkers, and just make it so that I can have like conditions like, for example, having a certain amount of the projection built. So yeah, anyway, as you can see, it's controlled by these 9 timers. Actually, only 8 of them. Not 8, those are actually... No, that's actually 5 timers controlling the entire... No, 6 timers, and the 7th is controlling this, which is just for Tim, because Tim isn't updated yet with the new patch. And anyway, I've talked enough. It's pretty obvious what these mechanisms do. But let me just... I don't know. I kind of feel like having an APC. Yeah. Now, this one, I'm going to have to close this. This button, you may have heard like the timer that was going off constantly back there. That's actually resetting it so that it doesn't run the timer on its own. But if I hit this, it turns that timer off. And now, when I press that button, within seconds, a new one is constructed after the last. I don't know, but I would say this kind of technology could be a little scary, especially in the hands of the space pirates. I actually very much intend to come up with a way to materialize the space pirates and make them like a physical threat that has supply lines and like drones that are actually being constructed in factories to haunt you. And let's just take a look. If I were to check, we already have 6 of these things. Oh, 7. I miscounted. Sorry. Oh, wait a second. Now it's 8. As you can see, this thing is fast. And I actually don't know, it's probably not actually using resources, is it? Huh. I actually did use some interior plates, I think. If I check, is it actually using resources? Or is it just... No, it's just building because it's in creative. Now, the uranium that it's refining is getting like put in there, as well as the ammo. So I'd like to know. It's probably running low on the ammo, actually. Yeah, the next one is going to take the last bit of ammo. Or is it? No, it's just going to take some of it. Still, as you can see, this thing... I would say to come up against something like this would be a little bit scary. So I am going to likely scale this back a bit, just for balance sake. But my entire intention is to create an entire like system with AI scripts that actually communicate in some form, even if it's just to like drop a waypoint globally for the faction to like attack things, or to like find player structures, things like that. Like, I'm going to definitely make a set of scripts and factories as well as vehicles to attack the player with, because this is just awesome to watch. And I'm obviously, for like things like mechs, I'm going to have to make completely new vehicles. Anyway, I'm actually kind of worried that this is going to kill my game, so I'm going to disable repeat. And that's just going to turn that timer back on and cause the system to ignore that. And now it's no longer building, which I'm happy about. But yeah, in the time that I was talking, this happened. I would say that's a pretty successful proof of concept. So anyway, I may as well just cut to the chase right now. I am actually very interested in this idea that we have the pirates actually building their craft and sending them out to fight you, and as well as like actually gathering and using resources. I don't know how easy that's going to be. I think there's some way I can trick the remote controls into doing tasks like mining. And if I can grab information from ore detectors, that's even better. So I'm probably going to start a new series. Probably, I don't know. Probably, Automated SE? Or Space Engineers Automation? Or, like, the making of the new Space Pirates? I don't know. Maybe that's a little bit pompous, because I'm definitely far from official. I just have an idea, and I want to explore that idea. And maybe one day someone will like take notice and be like, huh, this guy, like, oh, it's like, oh, 500 years ago this guy made a video showcasing these weird factories. I don't know. I'm just like kind of excited for this concept, and I want to check it out. And I feel like it would give me opportunities to code, especially since they fixed that bug where you couldn't type enter into the consoles. That sucked, let me tell you. I actually like held back on this because of that bug. But yeah, anyway, this has been Trekker Joe, and yeah, I have my work cut out for me. You already know the Spaero. I already gave you a tour, but we never gave it a test flight, have we? So yeah, so what I'm thinking is I'm just going to fly off in a direction. Probably, I see a military installation. I also see a mobile drilling platform. Let's attack the mobile drilling platform. Okay. I see my target, and I'm going to close in. Entering into cruise mode, which means that all I'm doing is turning off the frontal thrust, and it's going to guarantee that I'm always traveling in a direction. It's showtime. Enabling my reverse thrust. Have our target in my sights. Okay, there we go. Now we're finally starting to land some hits. Come on. I think it's aiming towards like second point or something. It's like super weird. Either way, I think we're going to down it. Come on. Fire everything. There we go. Dealing severe damage. Oh, it's going down. Let's drop with it. Okay, how is it? Okay, I don't like these numbers. I have about 500 kilometers to stop. Okay. Where's the crash? Want to see the crash site. That we could take, no problem. So now I have defeated this target. And I'm going to choose a landing spot. I think this one. Okay. So we are landed, hopefully level with the ground. And we have taken minor damage. Let's see, anything damaged? Our Gatling turret is damaged. So we have debris here from the craft that we shot down. That is satisfying. I don't know where the rest of it landed. All I know is that there is debris here. And the rest of the ship probably landed a bit off. And I don't know where it is. I do know that the Spaero actually did very well for itself. And I'm quite happy with it. I'm just going to like weld up this thing and let's take it out for another target. Prepare to stop. We're going to pass over. Woohoo! Oh, we're taking very severe damage. To keep my back turned because I think we're damaged. Yes, reactors are damaged. Okay, damaged thrusters probably have higher power demands, aren't they? No, never mind. No, it's just the batteries. Interesting. So we're going to go in for another pass. Yes, this is the ride I've been waiting for. Oh. So we were shot down. Okay, that was awesome. Okay, I have to say, that was awesome. That was well worth it. I'm sure it'll just buff right out. Anyway, this was Tracker Joe, and yeah, just wanted to like show you guys a few things and like do a little bit of flying and combat with the new cruiser that I made. And hopefully you guys enjoyed this video, and I also hope that you go in and like try to make your own stuff. I mean, I especially like the mechs. Anyway, see ya.